Hey there, everybody. It's Dave here from Vikings First and SKOL with the NFC North show. Who will be king? In the frozen wilds of the gridiron roars north, neath the lights of the north where the warriors clash, comes a tale of the bold from the lakes to the shores. Who will be king? The saga's bold flash. Pay from the Bears with a Chicago fire. June and Foster roar for the Lions' pride. Dave from Vikings with SKOL in his ire on FFSN's stage where rivals collide. Through week 5's fierce fray, the Lions did pounce, crushing Bengals with Goff's thunderous arm. Montgomery's trick, Hutchinson's bounce, a storm from Detroit, raising the alarm. Vikings in London, a grind to the bone. Wentz and Jefferson, defense's might. Browns fell in the mist, to the throne they atone, while Bears and Packers healed in the night. Now week 6 beckons with the battles anew. Lions charge the Chiefs in a shootout so grand. Packers face Bengals, Flacco's debut. Bears duel commanders on enemy land. Grades from the fray. Lions crowned with an A. Vikings and Packers, Bears in the chase. Tune in, you fans, for the NFL North fray. Who will be king? Join the epic embrace. Let the battles begin. Gentlemen, we have another week, and I got to switch the screens real quick. Here we go. Another week of NFC North talk, where my buddies from the NFC North, Pay from Chicago, June and Foster from Detroit, and nobody from Green Bay show up to talk about what happened. First off, last week, what happened, and then we'll work our way through a quarter poll, grades, and then we'll look at next week, this weekend. So, first off, Pay. I'm going to skip you, Pay, because you didn't play last week. You are in a bye. Let's talk to Jude and Foster. You guys had a game last week. You played the Cincinnati Bengals. How'd that turn out?
We walked out with a W. It was game, was a lot. We gave up a lot of scores in the second half. Gave up 3 touchdowns in the second half. It is what it is. The biggest mission was to walk away with the win and try to escape without injury. The Cincinnati Bengals are down this year without Joe Burrow, and we wanted to take advantage of that because we have a game where we had to head to Kansas City and play, so we wanted to make sure we secure that win. It went pretty good. The offense looked good in spurts, and the defense looked good in spurts. It wasn't a complete game by us, but we wound up winning 37-24.
Was it closer than the score indicated, or were you guys dominating the whole game?
I don't think it was as close as the score indicated. Like we were never in danger. It wasn't a close game. They scored 3 touchdowns in the second half, and they had to do that to get within 11 points. So it just wasn't a close game. I think the score makes it look closer than what it was.
Foster,
They had
what stood out from that game?
Well, Jake Browning did us some favors in the game. He had a few pretty unforced errors. He threw 3 interceptions, which kind of led to, the decision they had to make to go out and trade for a semi-realistic starting quarterback. But the offense was good. We scored right out the gate for the first time. The defense stopped the opposing offense on the opening drive. But yeah, we had 4 different guys score touchdowns. We took the ball. Well, we already talked about it. We took the ball away a couple of times, but offensive line was a little rocky. We gave up 4 sacks, and I think there was a strip sack by Trey Hendrickson involved in that. But it wasn't towards the end of the game where we had a couple of defensive laps, had some injuries that we'll probably talk about later on in the game. But yeah, all in all, the game was never really in question. But the one thing that we knew might be a factor was that two-headed monster they have at the receiving side kind of got loose later in the game.
Okay. I'm reading where Montgomery had a trick play.
Yeah, so it was a play where Jared Goff flanked out to the outside. Montgomery was behind the center. He had just got stuffed up the middle, so it was pretty obvious that he probably wasn't going to try to go back up the middle running wise. They kind of let him know, hey, there's nothing there, just throw it away. Don't do nothing crazy. But Brock Wright ended up being wide open in the end zone, and it was a nice little homecoming for him. He's originally from Cincinnati, and his sister got to see him for the first time in person, who had just had an accident about a year and a half ago. So she was there. Some other family members were there, and it was a nice. I think Cincinnati kind of set it up, for her to be able to be sitting at a decent vantage point. So class move by them for allowing that nice little homecoming.
Cool. Anything else from that game? What did Goff do?
Goff was pretty clean. I don't think he had any interceptions, but
he just had a turnover in the first quarter where the fumble. I think he was like 29 or 33, something like that, of passing, 200 some odd yards. It was
19 of 23.
19 or 23. I don't know the number, but
258 yards. But
yeah.
Did I read right where he's leading the league as QB?
Touchdown passes?
I didn't get what statistic.
QBR, maybe. Probably. I'm not sure.
Well, that sucks. All right.
I saw that in the game. The Lions are now historically the best, the most prolific scoring running back duo now, right?
In is the season at this current point in the season, or
no? Just David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I saw that they scored in the same game more times now than the Cowboys running back duo of the of the 90s, Emmett and Daryl Johnston. So
interesting.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was interesting too. I mean, it's like, okay, cool. History, prolific offense. It might as well be. You get so much praise for having the aerial assault. You might as well let those guys who chuck and duck the rock, let them get into history books too.
Yeah, not to mention they both had 1,000 yards rushing last year. So, and Montgomery sat out a couple games. It's
I saw that Tesla called another touchdown.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Charged up.
Charged up. Yeah, you got that right.
That was good, Dave. That was good.
No, but Tesla is looking like you guys found another wide receiver.
Well, yeah, I think he actually got a lot of playing time only because Khalif Raymond is out.
Right.
He wouldn't have gotten the playing time he got if Raymond hadn't been hurt. So he finally got some more playing time than he has all season because he actually started this game.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it goes against your stereotype of Detroit. Detroit's had some great wide receivers, but they don't, Vikings are supposed to own the North for wide receivers.
Yeah, we usually draft a tight end every year.
You guys got the tight ends. I'll give you that.
Tight end's pretty good. We got a pretty good tight end. So.
Well, we draft one every other year, so
I was going to say, Dave, I hope that wasn't some exasperation coming from you when you said, "Man, they got another wide receiver." Like,
yes, it
now.
is.
Every generation, the Vikings got a Hall of Famer for catching passes.
Yeah,
but we're supposed to own the market is how it's supposed to go. No, it's just that. Now, Pay, you and I both expected regression from the Detroit Lions this season.
Yeah, I think I expected it more than you, Dave, but they might, according to a lot of power rankings, and I don't disagree, best team in the league right now, which is crazy.
I know.
At the five weeks of the season, we were thinking the best team in the league was another team in this division, and now it's the team that they beat the first week that's actually the best team in the league. It's crazy. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's early. It's early. Week 1 was super
to this
early.
point.
It's early now. It's a lot of football to be played.
It's just now the other game played last weekend, was the Minnesota Vikings at the Cleveland Browns in London. Minnesota Vikings pull out a 21-17 victory. It is what it is. The biggest storyline that came out of it was that Jordan Addison was benched for the whole first quarter. Why was he benched? Because he missed a walkthrough. It was a coach's decision to bench him. Now all the talk is, what happens to Jordan Addison's future? Being that this is the third non-moving violation infraction, if you want to call it that. And that discussion's going on within my fan base as to, should we trade him? Should we trade him now? Should we trade him after the season? Should we roll with him for his fourth season and then trade him? All that sort of stuff as to what we should do, not trade him, because he would be a wide receiver 1 on 90% of the remaining teams in the league. It is very, very interesting. Now, what came out of the win is that Kevin O'Connell, basically, he had to go with mostly quick game, which is fine, which is against his grain. He wants the long, dynamic 20-plus yard throws, but he had to go with quick game and basically dumb down the offensive play book so that Carson Wentz could succeed. And obviously he did. He did what a backup quarterback is supposed to do, win half the games while he's in there. We've got a huge debate whether you keep rolling with Carson Wentz or you bring back J.J. McCarthy as soon as he's healthy, which is supposedly this week. He's working with Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison was asked, what are you going to do on the bye week? And he says, I'm going to stay in town and I'm going to be working out with J.J. McCarthy all week. And it's like, smart move. Like he probably didn't have a choice, but smart move. But we had
Is that because he's got home electronic monitoring?
something similar. Yes, I'm sure it's something similar. Now, what was interesting about Jordan Addison was 4 hours before the game and before it was announced that he got in trouble, and a random post on X came up. They can't find Jordan Addison. He went missing. Like the day, and it may have been from the day before. But
did they check the freeways?
I was worried about that he'd be found sleeping in a car somewhere.
Rolling down the Autobahn or something.
Well, it's in England, it's the motorways.
Right.
That he was, cruising down the M4 from Swindon or whatever it was into London. I have no idea, and they have not publicly stated why it was, but we don't know. All we know is he missed at least one walkthrough practice, and that's why he got busted by coach and had to sit out the first quarter. Now, he did end up winning the game-winning catch. Throw to the end zone from Carson Wentz, brought it in, cool, like that. And we came from behind within the last 2 minutes. If you watched live at the 2-minute warning, you saw me cheer when they did it. But it was cool. But we also had some other controversy during the game. We would send out Will Reichert, our place kicker, to tie the game. And it was, I think, a 40-something yarder. Not a big deal. He boots it, and it goes right. And everybody's like, bah. Browns get the ball, midfield, right, all this. Well, it came out afterwards. It looks like it hit a camera guide wire going up. There's multiple clips of it. It goes up, looks like it's heading straight down the middle, and then suddenly, whooing, goes right. And there's a wire there in the camera picture. And the wire interfered with it. And you see the wire move. And the NFL has refused to give the confirming view of, they said it was, theoretically, the camera was behind him. And it shouldn't have hit the wire because the angles are wrong, blah, 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 blah. But they've never showed us the view from the camera behind. Because if it would have hit the wire, the camera would have been jostled. But it was a big deal. And it was the second one of the weekend. There was one in the Jets game where a ball bounced off a dude's helmet and went up and hit the camera. And the NFL failed on both calls. Because technically it's stadium interference and the play gets do-overs. So it wasn't smooth sailing, but your Minnesota Vikings came out with the victory and went to 3-2, technically in third place because of that stupid tie from the Packers the previous week.
Dave, I got to ask you a question. And I'm pretty sure you watched the whole game. I did not get a chance to watch the whole game. But from your perspective, is that Cleveland Brown defense for real?
Yes, they're good.
It's legit.
It's legit. It is very, very legit. Yeah. You guys, when you face them, are going to have it will be a test.
Well, we already faced them, but
all right,
yeah, we did.
It was tough sledding. They played.
It's a test.
Yeah,
they covered the 10.5, so it wasn't too much of a sled.
It was because of turnovers and special teams.
I know.
Do we have a punt return?
Punt return for a touchdown, and they turned the ball over. There's 14 points right there, but it was their defense is legit.
Now, they chose to man up Justin Jefferson and not double team him. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
And they burned for it. Justin Jefferson had 136
Especially
yards
in
or
the fourth
something.
quarter. Especially in the fourth quarter.
It was a huge mistake. But they are legit, and it's a legit good defense. Their offense is horrible.
Yeah.
But their defense is good. They were literally
good
going
running
into
back.
last week the number 1 ranked defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we press on. The rest of the division during the week had to bye. Pay and his Bears had to bye, and the Packers had their bye. Pay, any news out of Chicago during the bye week?
Only news was kind of understood during that last game against the Raiders. The Bears are making a change at left tackle. Long time. Well, I don't know if I want to use that phraseology, but the opening game starter, Braxton Jones, he's going to take a seat. And dang, he caught that. He's taking a seat, and Theo Benedict is going to replace him at left tackle. That's the only bit of news during the bye week. Coming into this week, has been some mumblings about some other injury news, but as you already said, Bears play Monday night, so the first official injury report isn't until tomorrow. So we shall, fingers crossed on that one.
Okay. Tomorrow or Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. Duh. I'm losing track of time. I apologize.
It's hit us all. It hits us all, Dave. I get you. I'm mentally still in 2020.
Okay. I'm way back before that. But anyways, all right. The Green Bay Packers, they had their bye week after their tie. Yay, Packers. No. But, and I looked up any headlines coming out of Green Bay, and I didn't find any. Or I'm not scrolling and finding any, but oh well, that's life.
That's bad news.
I know.
I was hoping you was gonna say they got deported.
That would be nice. It's. I'm seeing one headline: cheese curds, 10-6 Packers. 10-6 Packers get back to work, hoping to get back on track. Okay, obviously, whoever cheese curds is, he doesn't know his own team's record.
They don't know how to internet right in Wisconsin.
I know. Green Bay Packers news: Christian Watson roster update, injuries. Hopefully he's still out. That comes from Justin Mosqueda, and Justin is good, one of the better broadcast guys over there. They're talking about signing some guy from the United Football League. Yeah, let's see. Tackle workouts. Saying that week 6 they're favored over Green Bay or over the Bengals. I'd hope so.
Well, the Bengals got Joe Flacco now.
Yeah. And let's get into it now. Since the biggest news so far this week is there's been a couple trades made, a couple defensive guys from, I think it was the Chargers to the Ravens, back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But it was the trade of Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals, which perked up everybody's eyes and ears because, one, Cincinnati did not trade for Russell Wilson. They did not trade for Kirk Cousins. They did not trade for a whole slew of probably better quarterbacks than Joe Flacco. They went with Joe Flacco. Well, all right, Pay, I get you. Is Russell Wilson better than Joe Flacco? Probably not. Is Kirk Cousins better? I would say yes, but hey, it is what it is. They went with the old man, Joe Flacco. Now, with that being the case, Does Matt LaFleur and crew think this is going to be a cakewalk on Sunday? Are they walking into a trap game is what I'm asking.
Good question. I would say yes.
I hope so.
Now,
you all already said the Cleveland defense is tough. It's formidable.
Oh, yes.
That offense, which probably puts them in a lot of bad positions. So their record probably doesn't speak to where the team is actually. But we've seen it time and time again dealing with the NFL. We don't have a lot of data on a quarterback, especially with a young quarterback that's taking over in mid-season. You didn't have the preseason for you to get your viewing in on him. It could be tough. The opportunity for this to be an actual letdown for the Green Bay Packers coming out of the bye is very real, Dave. Even though what I said, you take it as tongue in cheek, but I might hate them, but I'm not gonna lie on them. They better have their antennas up because they can end up getting Myles Garrett.
Okay. I'm trying to think.
Wait.
Yeah.
They don't play the Browns this weekend.
No, they play Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Right. I'm thinking of the
I've been getting
orange
them mixed
team.
up. Orange, it's the orange Ohio team.
Orange team.
When Dave said okay, I said yeah.
Dave does that though. They throw you off.
No. It was when I said Myles Garrett. Like, wait, we already saw that already. Wait, what am I talking about?
Yeah,
we already saw Myles Garrett. Yeah.
Now talk about Cincinnati,
You got to remember the Browns beat the Packers.
Yeah. I don't know how I forgot that. They lost to the Browns.
And Flacco.
And Flacco. And now they're going to get Flacco again. However, Cincinnati's defense isn't so good.
No. And Flacco isn't that good either. But as you all said, he is 1-0 this season against the Packers. So crazy things have happened.
Mm-hmm. Well,
he's got to be licking his chops with Jamar Chase and Higgins out there. Like he's much better off this time. Well, I don't know if he's much better off, but on his side, he's better off.
Yeah, he's better off.
Right.
He's got better wide receivers for sure.
For sure.
The offensive line, as long as he stays upright, he's fine.
Yeah.
Long enough. Yes. But I'm curious, does Green Bay automatically chalk this up as a win and then fails? Because they've
hopefully.
What's next week? What do they play in week 7? Who do they play? And use that sort of mentality and then get curb stomped. Oh God, please.
That'd be poor coaching.
Please.
That would be poor coaching. That would be indicative of terrible preparation. I agree with you there, Foster. But you would have to believe that during the bye week, they had an opportunity to get Michael Parsons, more ingrained with the playbook, and going against that offensive line, that leaky sieve of an offensive line they got in Cincinnati. First thoughts would be like, it's not a good situation for the old man Flacco.
No, it won't be, but I'm just hoping Green Bay comes in sleeping on it and royally screws up.
My sentiment
We can only hope.
My partner on 2 Bloggers, Darren chimes in. Bengals can't run the ball or the shit.
No.
That won't help Flacco, even if he's got Chase and Higgins to throw to.
Well, Chase Brown is he's pretty decent. They could possibly run the ball.
Oh well. All right. It's that time of day for Garrett's popcorn break. Join us right after this break while we pay the bills. And we're back. I wanted to discuss report cards. We're at the quarter mark for most teams, which is 4 and third games. So let's do report cards. Everybody does that. June, what report card would you give to your team? And let's get specific and bust it down, not only overall, but offense, defense, special teams, major positions.
Okay, I'll give it an overall B plus. I give the quarterback play an A minus. Probably would be an A if it wasn't for the first game. However, it wasn't there. It was a lot more to it than just Goff. Our offensive line that first game was just horrible. With that being said, I want to give the offensive line probably about a B minus around that area. We haven't seen the best that has yet to come from the offensive line. Wide receiver play, I want to give it a B. Goff has spread the wealth around to different receivers and Laporta. The running tandem, I want to give an A. Both running backs have about 300 and some odd yards apiece and 4 touchdowns apiece. As far as the defense, I want to give the defense an overall B. And if you want me to break that down even further, I can by position group if you like.
Who played edge opposite of Hutch last weekend?
Last week it was
Muhammad was
Muhammad.
back.
Last week it was Muhammad.
Okay. Any word on Davenport? Is he done for the season?
He
could be back this month. Technically.
He's on injured reserve. He has a couple more weeks left, and he'll probably go back by the end of the season. But we sustained some injuries. Both starting corners are out. They'll be missing significant time. DJ Reed has been placed on IR, and no one has said this, but I expect Arnold to go on IR as well. This is just my opinion. He could miss 3 to 4 weeks, so it might be safer to put him on IR, but it's not a season-ending type of injury for him. So we're missing both corners due to injury. We've been bringing some corners in. It's just, the same as, not the same as last year, but we went through this last year where we were just bringing people in on practice squads just to fill the roster. But
bottom trend.
It's early, so I'm not too concerned. What was happening to us was happening last year in week 10 and and week 9. So these are things that were going on last year, but overall, I'll give the Lions a B plus, something around that area. That first game was yet to be desired, but we've had pretty good games since then. So I want to say a B. We haven't seen our best football for 4 full quarters yet.
Pay, do you agree with that self-assessment?
Yeah, I can't argue too much with a B. I think actually I probably would have been a little bit more complimentary on the offensive line considering where you came into the season. You replaced 2/5 of the offensive line. Am I correct? So it was going to be a bit of a 3/5. Okay, so it was going to be a work in progress. You had to get your jail going on. You had to build up a lather, and 5 games in, you guys, offensive line look like it's cooking.
Last game, they didn't play as well as they did previous games, and then you got to take into account the first game they were horrible. So that's why I gave them. They couldn't get an A from me because, like I said, the last game and the first game was yet to be desired. The first game was horrible from an offensive line standpoint. It was like we weren't getting bullied at the line. We were missing assignments. And we missed some assignments this game as well. We had a new tackle in, and he didn't play very well to the point to where they brought in, or the Detroit brought in another tackle. And they brought a tackle off the practice squad to compete for that tackle position because Decker was out. So, man, this game just wasn't the best game from the offensive line. So, get a B.
That's fair.
I would have probably gone with an A, considering you're 4-1, you're top of the power rankings, you look like a Super Bowl contender, even with the injuries, they being temporary for the most part. But hey, I can be generous sometimes.
Well, you got to also look at it too. Like out of those 5 games, well, we might have been the underdog once.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if they favored us
twice.
Green Bay. I don't know if they favored us.
Ravens. Yeah, Ravens and Packers. I think we were the underdogs.
And we went 500 with that. So,
Wow. All right. Pay your Chicago Bears. What would you give your effort so far this season?
I mean, they're 2-2. Might as well just split the baby and call it a C, right? You said all 3 phases of the game: special teams, offense, defense. Offense, I would actually give them a B, just for that segment of the team. I'll give the offense a B. They're in the top third as far as scoring. There's been some steadily improvements from the quarterback position. The only thing holding it back is the run game. The run game is horrible. Well, you could imagine that as if when you break camp with DeAndre Swift as your workhorse, and not just RB1 workhorse, as in he's the only one getting carries.
As your bell cow back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, that's probably the biggest issue. I mean, the offensive line is still a work in progress since there's been some musical chairs going around with that. So I'm going to not grade the offensive line just because what we've seen has been we don't really know what to get out of it just so yet. We broke camp with Braxton Jones as left tackle and Darnell Wright at the right tackle. But I think we all understood that there was probably going to be a change, probably around the bye. And look, we're in the bye, and there's been a change at left tackle. There might be a change at right tackle, depending on how long Darnell Wright's out and how well his understudy does in his position. So we'll kick that can down the road. Defense, this one's tough. So the secondary has been it's been the best looking this last 2 weeks against Dallas Cowboys, that high flying offense, and I almost called them Oakland, against the Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of takeaways, stumping on the necks of all their pass catchers. That's what you like to see. I think it was back-to-back weeks in which the secondary allowed a quarterback rating of less than 75, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what you want to see. But again, going back to the rushing, on the opposite side of the Bears not being able to run the ball, the Bears can't stop the run. So, and I think the Bears are giving up right now 6.1 yards per carry, which if that continues going through the rest of the season, that's going to be historically bad. I think that will be the worst all time as far as rush defense. So with that being said, I think I would grade the overall defense closer to a D. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I gave the secondary as flowers, but the secondary did get lit up by Detroit. They did allow rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy to have his way in crunch time. And so you can't just only take the good and ignore the bad. You want to take it all, and that's how you do a cumulative grade. and the cumulative grade for that, for the entire defense to this point, I'm going to give it a D. Special teams, I don't even know I can give it a C. I mean, we've made some kicks. The punter has made one good kick, the fourth round drafted punter. He's made one good kick. It was a very good punt that we needed in crunch time in his last game, which he dropped it right at the 1 yard line. Beautiful punt. We need to see more of that from a fourth round punter. But just again as a total unit from the 4 games, I mean, what else are you doing? I don't see a lot of flags coming from that unit. I don't see a lot of missed assignments. We're not giving up a lot of run return, not a lot of returns. Sorry. So I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. C+.
Okay, interesting. My research gave him a B-, but okay, that'll work. As for the Green Bay Packers,
F.
All right, I can agree with that. To end up in a tie deserves that. But if Love's solid generally when everything's clicking, the question is, does it click always? And does he click always? And the answer we all know is not necessarily. So we'll see. Then the Vikings, I'm leaning towards probably maybe a B. What carries us is the defense. The defense has been relatively good. Brian Flores has kept pretty much to the Mendoza line, preventing outrageous scores against us. Kevin O'Connell has orchestrated the offense to win 3 out of the 5 games, including through a whole slew of injuries to especially our offensive line. We were down to just one of the 5 starters last weekend, and we still won, which was good. And everybody seems to be getting healthier and should be back after the bye for the most part on our side. And then things will really heat up and get scary. The NFC North as a whole is 11-6-1, still the strongest division in football, I believe. So, and Minnesota special teams, I think, is fine. They're actually one of the higher ranked teams this year. Talking about a punt, we had a 77-yarder officially. It was down to 2, talking about flipping a field last week. Peter says our run defense is a D-. Yes, our run defense, it can be attacked. And it's a shame, but that is the case so far, Peter, and I agree with you. We've got to be able to stop the run. I think with Blake Cashman coming back off of IR here shortly, he will help that immensely. Yes, we missed the big guys in the middle, Harrison Phillips in particular, but I think Blake Cashman is the key to that. And it will be tested once we get to playing teams like the Lions specifically. We're going to find out. It's going to be interesting. That's my take on where the division lies right now. I would put Detroit obviously in first place. I would say the Vikings are probably better off than Green Bay, but hey, I'm a homer. And then unfortunately, I think you guys are working on finishing last in the division once again. And you wonder why you extended your GM.
We're not working on that. That's where we are currently. But where you're presently does not indicate where you will finish. It's always about the journey, and the journey dictates where your destination will be. And where we are right now in our journey, I'm not too upset with it. It could have been. I could have said we are F right now. We are F'd up. But I'm not
No,
giving him an F. Giving him a
there's-
C.
There's glimmers of hope.
Yes.
I've actually seen Williams play better under Ben Johnson than last season. So there's glimmers of hope. Now, will Ben Johnson's
there will be.
shtick last through this season, especially when he gets overly emotional? Put it that way. Or will he end up like
it's not going to last forever, but one season, oh yeah, we're good for one season. But that type of coaching style, and this is just from the out looking in. We don't know how he actually coaches. We know how he talks in press meetings, but that type of style, that type of gruff, it does wear on you, and it has a shelf life. But you know what else has a shelf life? Players. You can always rotate the players out, get new ones in.
Mm-hmm. True. Well, we all saw what happened to Gannon this week when he tapped his player, the running back, in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
It cost him $100,000
Mm-hmm.
because the player
cost him his
dropped
job.
the ball before going over the goal line. That was crazy. All right.
I actually think that was a touchdown, Dave. I might be in a minority. I think he scored. And I'm not saying that because he's on my fantasy team, but I think he scored. The camera angles, for me, looked like he had the ball in his hand still when he got over that white line. I don't know.
But did he have control over it when he hit the white line? That's the question.
Inconclusive.
And they ruled he didn't. And
he concluded.
But
all
to
right.
do that, it's idiotic. Teach your players, if they score a touchdown, go hand the ball to the nearest referee. Guy in stripes. Here, ball's yours.
Where I'm at with it, I think he's only had 3 touchdowns in his whole career. Like, you should be cherishing these balls right now. You should be taking them back and giving them back to the equipment manager. Like, hey, save that for me.
Or that, yes. But
cross the line first before you do that.
But hey there, Pooper and Go Bars. Good to see you. All right, now we're on to week 6. Minnesota is on the bye. Thankfully, it's hitting at the perfect time. The only team in the division that still has yet to do the bye is June and Foster's Detroit Lions. Foster, when's your bye?
Put me on the spot. I have no idea.
June, when's your bye? And
Don't know.
tell me I'm the only one that knows this.
I'm just focused on Kansas City next week. I know we don't have a bye, this week. So it's
week 8.
Week 8, yes. Thank you, Foster. All right.
Pop quiz.
But to week 6. All right, we're going to start off with, let's see, who's the first game of the week? First game of the week from the division is Green Bay at Cincinnati. We've already talked about this. Is this the Joe Flacco trap game for Green Bay?
God, I hope so.
3:25 Eastern on CBS. Packers are favored by 13.5. Ooh. Pay, you taking the under on that one?
I generally do not like large spreads. When I say large, 9.5 or larger for professional games. This in this case would be the NFL, just because they're all pros. Things of that nature. You will if you would bet it 10 times, you would probably lose 6 of those times going taking the favorite to cover. With that said, Flacco is going to have a reduced playbook just because he got there 2 days ago. So I don't know what type of complex route trees him and T. Higgins or him and Jamar Chase would kind of have, what type of rapport they would have. It's hard for me to even. And then you have on top of that, the Packers had a week to prepare, a week to build up a lather for this game. 13.5 might just be fair for this game.
Yeah, but would you take the over or the under?
What's the total?
Oh, the over.
Good question. I did not have that down there. What's the over-under?
I would assume that the total somewhere generally about 47.5. I'll probably take the over.
Okay. Now, we're all rooting for Cincinnati.
Yes,
I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
So we'll go on for the next game of the division is Sunday night. The Detroit Lions at Kansas City, a stadium where they have won before.
Recently.
Lions are 2.5-point underdogs. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
I'll take that.
Tell us about the game. Preview it for us.
Yeah, as you said, we have recently won in Kansas City. Kansas City will be coming off they're actually below 500 right now. They're coming off a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So they're desperate.
The Chiefs. Yeah. I mean, they started kind of slow last year as well, so I don't really, and obviously they finished quite, good enough, in the Super Bowl. But yeah, so I really don't read too much into that. They still have a wizard of a quarterback, and the key will be to keep him off the field. They rank pretty low in DVOA. They're, as far as offense and defense, they are in the bottom 5.
Ooh.
And but they have a lot of explosive weapons, a lot of fast, dynamic players. They got a pretty nice red zone threat in Kareem Hunt. But yeah, they got Isaac Pacheco, they got Hollywood Brown, they got Worthy, they got a guy by the name of Tyquan Thornton who's averaging 20 yards per catch right now. So they definitely have some dangerous weapons, and the Lions have some cleaning up to do as far as penalties within the secondary, which we may or may not have that issue because Terrion Arnold is out for a while. So, but we will have our entire, as far as our cornerback room, they're all going to be reserve guys. So, yeah, it's going to be important that we keep the big plays to a minimum in the game. But yeah, so it should be a pretty good game. I am definitely cautious about our secondary, but we've taken the ball away quite a bit with fourth and takeaways, and third in differential right now. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm showing the over-under at 53. So, should be a high-scoring game, just as long as you don't get distracted by Tay-Tay, which I'm sure she's going to be there.
Probably so.
What's the matter, Pay? You grimaced. She's helped the NFL, brought in new fans.
That's true. This is a bit of a sidebar. When you said Tay-Tay, so I had actually, I'm not proud of this. I had actually listened to her last album just to see what the fuss was.
Oh my God!
Worst decision I've made in quite a while. That album's terrible. I thought I was I had been given too much information about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship. They just keep forcing it on us. Listen to that album. I got way too much information.
That's what I heard about it.
Way too much. I should have never entered into that group chat. That is the worst decision I've made in the last 10 years. Don't do it if you're not forced to do it. If no one's waterboarding you and playing that album, skip it.
Torture, you say?
Yes.
Thanks for the warning. Not that I've ever listened to her knowingly. All right. That brings us to the last game of the division. On Monday Night Football on ABC, Chicago Bears at the Washington Commanders. We have the Bears, our 4.5-point underdogs, going into DC. Preview it for us, Pay.
So the Bears are back in action, as you said, on Monday Night Football against those DC Commandos. 4.5-point dogs is curious, but we talked about that in a second. This isn't just another game. This isn't just another primetime game for the Bears. I think this will be their second primetime game of the season. Not just that. This is a chance for revenge. It's a chance for redemption against a team who called themselves the Washington Heartbreakers last season, against a team that effectively ended the Bears season last season. This is a team, the Bears, who has the chance to right a lot of wrongs. Obviously, the game is on Monday, as we said earlier. The first injury report comes out tomorrow on Thursday, but the indication is that Kyler Gordon will be back. At least he said as much when he was talking to the media yesterday. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury that's kept him out all season. He's one of the most important pieces to this defense because of his versatility in the secondary. Not just as a great slot cover corner. He's the highest paid cover corner. We discussed that ad nauseum when he got that contract. He's not just a great nickel, but he's also great as a blitzer. He's someone who's great in run stopping. And as I said earlier, the Bears need a ton of help in that area, even if it's coming from the secondary. Getting him back would be massive because he is such a chess piece for Dennis Allen. You just get that defense stronger and stronger instead of having all these also-rans playing secondary. No disrespect to Nashawn Wright and the rest, but if we can reduce their snaps and start getting back guys who are meant to be in that position, the defense gets better. The team gets better. It's even more so playing against a team like the Washington Commandos who are trending to be down their top receiver, F.O. McLaurin, down Noah Brown. They're going to be leaning heavily on guys like Debo, who is not a bad thing because they leaned on him heavily in his previous game, and he showed up, right? On the offensive side for the Bears, you got Colston Loveland. They're also trending for him to return. He's been dealing with a hip injury since Caleb Williams left him out to dry in that game against the Dallas Cowboys. Another one on the injury report, Travis Homer and Austin Booker. Their 21-day windows have opened up. Travis Homer, he's another running back, but he doesn't really play running back. He's more of a special team specialist. Austin Booker, he's another one of those preseason Hall of Famers the Bears have had in the last couple of seasons. Yeah, he makes a lot of splash plays when against backup. So, again, the Bears have a need at rushing the passer. Austin Booker, that is his pedigree. We can use any help we get. So once he's back, we can hopefully get him in the rotation. But the elephant in the room here, Tyreek Stevenson. We all remember that failed tip pass from the last season against the DC Commandos, the fail Mary. That play sent the season spiraling. That play became a national narrative. Wasn't nobody talking about the Bears until that play. This game is a massive opportunity for Stevenson to turn the page on his career forever. He had got benched the game after that by Eberflus. He didn't take it too well. The rest of his season wasn't that well, and he started this season pretty terrible as well. In fact, he gave a perfect passer rating in his first two games of this season. Every time he got targeted, he was getting, the guy was wide open damn near. He was in trail mode forever against the Detroit Lions. But number 29, he's bounced back the last 2 weeks, and I think he is in great position to have a great game to where he can get some of the stink off of him and flip like I said, flip the narrative on what's going on for him. The great news about him, as I said, he's been on the tear recently. I think he's forced 3 turnovers in the last 2 games, a fumble and 2 interceptions. It's all setting up. He hasn't really dealt with the media leading up to this game, well, at least since the end of last game and the opening portion of this week. And I like that. All the Gen Z kids, they're all saying the same thing right now. He's one of them Gen Z kids from Miami. Lock in. He's locking in, and I love it for him. The Commanders, they've got they just saw what's the quarterback name? They've had a lot of running back injuries. Their new one, Krosky Merritt.
Jordan
they call him
Daniels.
Lil Bill. Well, that's another
Or
running back,
Jaden
but
Daniels.
he tends to throw the ball sometimes too. But Krosky Merritt, he had a career game last week against the Chargers. Surprise win against the Chargers. He averaged 7.9 yards per carry. He had 111 yards on the ground. He scored 2 touchdowns. I'm kind of worried. He's a running back, so he's a rookie running back. So typically, I would say, he's a young kid. He can't. Having that type of success is not necessarily duplicative in this league, especially for a young running back. But hey, the last time we saw the Bears rush defense was against another rookie, Austin Jonty, and he had his breakout. He had 3 touchdowns against the Bears rush defense. So, if you were gambling, I would check out Mr. Jacory's totals, and I would take the over against the Bears defense. Why not? It's cashing out every week, so go ahead and do that. They put up 240. Oh, I'm sorry, the Raiders. The Raiders put up 240 rushing yards against the Bears 2 weeks ago. Jaden Daniels, as you said, Dave, Jacory Krosky Merritt. I would not be surprised if they have another bountiful game on the run on the ground against the Bears. I mean, again, even with Kyler Gordon coming back, I haven't heard TJ Edwards will be back. I haven't heard that Grady Jarrett will be back. I would lean into that being a weak spot for the Bears. That rush defense. I mean, again, as I said, it's been 6.1 yards per game per carry. So far this season, historically bad.
You want to know what the robot says?
What's the robot say? What does Grok say?
Chicago's D might steal it if they force turnovers. Prediction: Bears 24-21 in the upset.
This is why we don't talk to Skynet. If you can force turnovers, you probably will win. Thanks a lot, robot. Thank you. I think the humans had that one circled about 50, 60 years ago. The offensive line, that's the other concern for the Bears. Theo Benedict, he might be right now better than Braxton Jones, but I don't think he's actually better than Braxton Jones, if you know what I mean. I think Braxton Jones still dealing with an injury. Theo Benedict is an undrafted player out of Canada.
Well,
Braxton Jones was at least drafted.
Name,
well, yeah, the Canadian Eagle?
Well, the Theo and the Benedict are obviously been Pope names, so you having a Pope on your side, he's got to love that,
a little Catholic there joke. Okay, I like it. I like it. We definitely gonna need the prayers. No word yet if Darnell Wright is going to play. He's had a hyperextended elbow at the right tackle, so we might be having might have a rookie at the right and an undrafted guy at left. Not the best situation, but again, Braxton Jones has never been that great, so it is what it is. At that point, you got to roll what you got. But I kind of like where the Bears are trending in for this game. There are some weak points that Washington has. They're not as offensively potent as they were last season. So I think that plays into the Bears' favor on the defense. And I did say earlier, the Bears' offense, top third of the league as far as scoring, as far as third down conversions in the red zone. The Washington defense is that plays into the Washington defense's weaknesses on their side. So I definitely agree that this game is going to be back and forth as it was last year. In fact, the game was, what was it, 18-15 last year? Save a few boneheaded coaching decisions, save a few boneheaded decisions from the defense towards the end of the game. That should have been a win.
Mhm.
I can see that 4.5. It's a very fair line just based on where these teams are right now. But it's going to be a very interesting game to end in week 6. I can assure you of that.
Mm-hmm. Doc Proto says, every time I watch you guys, I kind of laugh a bit. Y'all been doing this show for at least 2 seasons and still haven't found a Packers fan cool enough to be on. Hey, Doc, if you know anybody that's willing to put up, let me know, and I will send out a, hey, want to come join us? Be the butt of our jokes? Sure.
They've got to have thick skin because Foster, he does not hold back.
No, he doesn't. Well, there, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. June, Foster, where can they find you all, and what's your next show?
You can find us at Bleachers Speakers on YouTube, and you can find us at any of the aggregators. Anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can find us. Just type in Bleachers Speakers, FFSN, in your search. Make sure you download those episodes. You can also find Detroit Tigers stuff there at Corner the Copa on YouTube. That's Foster and Coach. They have their special channel for Detroit Tigers exclusive news and updates and stuff like that. We also have on our Bleachers to Speakers channel, we have post-game podcasts where we talk about the Pistons. And our next show will be Saturday morning, where we do the pregame show for the Detroit Lions. And then you'll hear, then we'll go live after the game Sunday night, talk about what happened versus Kansas City. So make sure you subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube and subscribe to Corner the Copa.
And me and Coach will be going live right after this show. The Tigers had 6 unanswered runs. They won 9-3 today, so we live to see another day. So we're pretty pumped about that.
Woohoo! Pay, where can they find you, and what's your next show?
Hey, at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, we're bringing you everything Chicago sports related. Bears, Bulls, Cubs, Sox, DePaul basketball, U of I, Chicago Sky, all the rest. Jackie Robinson West, Simeon. We cover all grounds. That's available Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube Music, and all the rest. Everything that we do is available on YouTube as well. What you can look for the rest of this week, we will have a Bears preview coming out on Friday. But today, after this show, as always, we have Pay Dirt. That's our weekly sports betting show. We're going to have talking about some interesting lines going into this weekend. And I will have my live game review for the Cubs called Holy Cow. As this game ends, the Cubs are right now up 4-1 in the 3rd inning. So won't be a somber one this time. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And as Doc Proto noticed, we have no Green Bay Packers representative, so I cannot direct you to any of their shows, nor would I really want to. But you catch me, Dave, at Vikings First and SKOL, where we have Tyler and crew. Our next show is tomorrow at 12:30 live Central. It's going to be X's and Skulls with Tyler Fornes and Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. And they're going to be debating, should we stick with Carson Wentz or should we go all in on J.J. McCarthy? 12:30 tomorrow. And then we'll have the Real 4-0 show at 6. And then 2 old bloggers where we saw Darren chime in earlier. He, myself, will go over our bye week topics of the week. With that, gentlemen, what do you say in Detroit? I think I prefer the Foster's roar.
Foster has a
That was your cue,
Chicago.
Foster. We say bear down, Dave.
All right. And of course, in Minnesota, we say SKOL Vikings. And if I had the volume up, there we go. All right. With that, have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
So Mark Sanchez, huh?
Oh, wow.
Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been a frustrated Chicago sports fans, Bleachers to Speakers, Vikings First and SKOL, and of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.